Does infighting seem kind of pointless to you? I mean, you just don't get it. Why is it that people fight? You go to work and these people are having this fight. You don't even know what they're fighting over. They're just disagreeing, or maybe it's in your extended family, or maybe it's in your church. I never understood this in church. I thought people were supposed to go to church to get together and to love one another. But they get together and they gossip and they fight. I don't get that. Do you get it? That's one of 8 questions I've got for you, and that is some unusual traits of Asperger syndrome that are really secondary traits of primary traits. And let's go through, and I just want to ask you some of these questions to see if see what you think, and you can use the comment section to answer the questions. But yeah, infighting. That's something I never could understand. I don't understand why people hate each other because they disagree with each other. What does that have to do with anything? Did you hurt somebody because you disagree with them? I don't think so. I mean, there may be some exceptions to that, but I just can't get it. Let me know what you think. All right, number 2 is this, and I'm going to have to move kind of quick because we got 8 of these questions, and I don't want to make this presentation too terribly long because, well, then it gets kind of boring. But number 2 is this. Do you have what I call poker face? Now, when I say poker face, I mean that you have a face that is really void of expressions. When you're talking to somebody, they may raise their eyebrows or make a face of some kind that looks perfectly normal to you, but when you are listening to them, or maybe even talking to them, which we don't like to do a lot of that, but your expression, it just doesn't reflect that. Those mirror neurons apparently aren't kicking in. So you have a poker face. Now the problem with this is that we can't see our face when we're talking. So we don't necessarily know that we are not expressing ourselves the way other people would, unless somebody actually tells us that. I know when I started making videos, I thought I had expressions like everybody else. But when I watched the video, I realized, you thought you were expressing yourself very well with your body language and with your facial language, but as I watched the videos, I thought, man, I'm missing it. So I tried to exaggerate just a little bit, but not too much. That's a bit of a challenge because we don't know when we are overdoing it. Now, here's another problem with poker face, and I say it's a problem, not a big problem, but did you know that you can see your reflection in other people? That if you are happy, the person you're talking to will reflect that happiness. If you are mad, you can see that anger reflected in other people. So another way to tell whether or not you have poker face is when you are interacting with people, which I know you don't like to do that too much. But when you are interacting with other people, you don't get much of a reflection back. But then again, maybe you're accustomed to that, so you don't notice it. But it is something that going forward, you may want to pay close attention to. When you are interacting with other people, how do they react to your interaction? And if their reaction is kind of flat, okay, you've got flat expression. You've got poker face. Pretty good, I guess, if you're playing poker, but life is not one big poker game. Okay, maybe it is. I don't know. Question number 3 is this. Did you struggle with your peers when you were little, when you were a child growing up? And when I say struggle, I don't mean necessarily fight. And that, by the way, is something else that I don't understand. Talking about infighting is why do people bully each other? It's just pointless, but that's off topic here. Did you struggle with other kids when you were a child? Now, adults usually thought you were great. Oh, little Johnny or whoever you are is so well behaved. He is so, when you get to be a teenager, they say, well, he or she is so mature for their age. Well, maybe so. Maybe there is something mature about having Asperger syndrome. I say maybe, I actually think there is, because we don't like infighting. We don't like all this social hierarchy forming where somebody tries to compete with another person for position in the social hierarchy. They just dumb, it's immature, it's childish, but most people do that. So I'm thinking just maybe the people with Asperger syndrome may actually be, at least on that level, maybe a little bit more mature than their peers, not just in childhood, but throughout life. But that's another question. So as you are assessing your level of autism, specifically Asperger syndrome, did you, as a child, struggle, not necessarily fight, even though that might have been part of it, but struggle just interacting socially with other kids? And one of the things they may have been bothered by was your unusually high verbal skills. You would use words and terms that maybe the other kids didn't understand, and you came across as just kind of weird. Which is number 4. Do you have unusually high verbal skills? Not every person that I know who has Asperger syndrome has. Can we actually call this a problem? Seems to me this would be a benefit if you have high verbal skills. But not everyone I know who has Asperger syndrome finds this trait to be prevalent in their lives, but most of them do. And I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm sure somebody's done some research, but I have no idea why that is. But I think it may be because we have that tendency, we're going to talk about this in just a second, we have a tendency for things to be in place, for things to be in order. And we like it done well. And sometimes we prefer to choose the most expressive word or the word that is most accurately expressive or whatever. And so we just tend to, and I'm just theorizing here, I don't know. And so we tend to expand our vocabulary. All right, number 5 is this. Are you unusually tidy? Now, as you look at my office, I think you can see it on the screen. Does that look tidy to you? I see a few things that are out of place, few things that are askew, but by and large, I keep things straight and in order, but not always. So I can't say that I am excessively tidy, even though I do like things in a row. I don't know why. If they're dusty, that doesn't bother me, so. But I certainly am no hoarder. And if you watch those shows, the hoarders, see if you can find a person with Asperger syndrome who is a hoarder. Maybe there's one out there. I don't know, but I doubt it. That is just something that is that is contradictory to everything that is Aspie. Asperger syndrome, people with Asperger syndrome, we like things to be in order. And again, that's not something that is really prevalent in my life, but still, I keep my shirts in order. I call it micro order because you keep your house in order, but then you keep everything in your house in order, like your closets. Some people laugh at me when I tell them this, but I actually number my shirts. I have 17 shirts that look just like this one. Different colors, but they're all the same. And I number them, and the reason I do that is so that I won't wind up wearing the same shirt over and over and over again and wear it out. So I want to, this day I wear shirt number 1, tomorrow I'll wear shirt number 2, the next day I wear shirt number 3, so I don't wear them out. So that's kind of a form of tidiness, but really what we're doing is we're keeping things in order. Talk about that in a couple minutes. Number 6 is this. Do you not get social interactions? Now, this kind of reflects on the other question we asked about the question we ask about infighting, that why do people infight? Why don't they just get along? Don't understand that, but a part of that is you don't understand social interactions. That a lot of social interactions, at least to me, and I think this is true with a lot of people with Asperger syndrome, are pointless. Now, I didn't realize that I did this so much, but people would ask me questions, and I would say, I don't know. That was my question. That was my answer, rather, to probably 1 million questions. And when I went in for my evaluation, That was one of the things the therapist brought up. Is I had this tendency to say, I don't know, if I didn't know the answer to the question, I wouldn't just converse for no apparent reason. I don't know. But it means more than I don't know. It means that's a dumb question. It also means who cares? It also means you should know the answer to that, so why are you asking me? Or it could mean that's unnecessarily or just unnecessary small talk. So my response is, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't think that was a big deal. But, well, another expression is whatever, But I was watching the movie Rain Man, and there's a scene in it where Raymond says, I don't know. He would say, I don't know.
How'd you do that?
I don't know.
Over and over. And the Tom Cruise character, forget his name, he got really annoyed with Rain Man, because he said, I don't know. You don't know? You should know. And it didn't occur to me that, that was a portrayal of a person with autism, or on the autism spectrum, kind of a severe case of it. And that's very reflective in my life, and I didn't even get it until after I talked to the therapist, and I don't know. Problem solved. End of conversation. Talk about something else, or go away, or quit talking altogether. But we just don't get social interactions. Why is somebody asking me a question about that thing? I don't know. Number 7 is this. Do you prefer routines? We like things in order, not just physical things in order, but we like our actions in order. Do you prefer routines? Now, when I went to see the therapist to get my diagnosis, she asked me this question, and I said, no, I don't particularly like routines. I mean, routines are not a part of my life. And after the session was over, I went home and I got on the computer and looked up my spreadsheet to see what I was supposed to do next. And I thought about it. I do things routinely, like order my shirts. I have a schedule. I do this around the house once a month or once a week or whatever. Maybe I do have routines. I guess, I was thinking to myself, I guess if you do things routinely, you must have routines. And so I sent her an email and I said, yeah, I want to change my answer on that. It just occurred to me that I have all kinds of routines. I just didn't think of them as being routines. I just had an orderly life. Well, I guess that's part of having a routine. Number 8, this is the last one, and that is this. Does nonliteral language confuse you? Now, if you are a person with Asperger syndrome, you've probably already heard this question, because this is the one that's not all that unusual. But I don't think I have a real problem with understanding analogies and non-literal language. Raining cats and dogs is the one that everybody brings up, and I know it's not raining I was going to say canned hams, because that's what David Letterman used to say. But I understand it's not raining cats and dogs. I'm not confused by that at all. But I think a lot of people with Asperger syndrome have that problem. Do you? Now, I heard a story, and this is probably one of the most extreme stories I ever heard, but there was a couple who was visiting the home of another couple for they had them over for dinner. And they had a good time, I guess, and as this couple was leaving at the end of the evening, the host couple said to their guest couple as they were walking down the sidewalk to get in their car, come back and see us. So they turned around, they went back in the house. They went back to see him. Okay, that's an extreme case, and I don't think it happens all that much, but that's the idea, is you tend to take things a little bit too literal, and you don't always know, and this is the problem. Some people tell jokes with that poker face, and you may not know they're joking, and you may not get the joke until you find out they're joking. That, okay, that was funny. Thanks for scaring me. But sometimes we don't get it, and we don't even know we don't get it, and it's too late. It's in the past. It's gone. We talk about this stuff all the time, Asperger syndrome, and it just goes on. And the material we have on this channel is, well, it just doesn't get old. We call it evergreen. What we talked about last year, what we talked about last month, is still good information. So, help yourself. You'll see a couple boxes on the screen where you can click and watch some of those older presentations, and it's just as good as if we made it today or yesterday. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time.